Hello all, UPSC has released the official key for Prelims 2023. Analyzing this key, we now have a clarity of certain questions where the keys or the discussions were doubtful, but still certain questions we are not able to have a conclusive say. So let's look into 10 questions where clarity has been provided, where ambiguity still prevails. So question number 34, here this question was about the constitutional amendments which was widely believed to have been enacted to overcome the judicial interpretations of fundamental rights. Here we had divided parties, some went with A, some went with 42, and there were equally convincing substantiations about whether one is right or A is right or B is right. Both cannot be ruled out. This was the position. First statement was expressly brought for overcoming the judicial interpretations. You know the 9th schedule introductions. 42nd Amendment also had many provisions to overcome the judicial interpretations. And therefore, what was right, we never knew. But surprisingly, UPSC has dropped this question. And there are only 99 questions for which you have been marked. So this question has been dropped. So let's look at this statement. Statement 2, Statement 1, carbon markets are likely to be one of the most widespread tools in the fight against climate change. No doubt here. Almost 100% will agree with this statement. Statement 2, carbon markets transfer resources from the private sector to the state. So use the word here, look at the word here, state means the government. Right, so while we were discussing last year, we felt that in all probability, this statement could be wrong. Right? With what basis did we feel that this statement could be wrong? It's because the carbon markets, the term carbon markets is so wide and it's an umbrella term for many things undergoing. For example, there is carbon emissions trading happening, government issuing carbon taxes, carbon bonds. So all this come under the broad umbrella of carbon markets. And what was our rationale was, carbon markets per se do not intend to, or that's not primarily trying to transfer resources from the private sector to the state. Maybe a small tax component can do, but not all of the carbon market deal with taxes. There could be an emissions trading which is between two private parties. It is to incentivize a party or a company from adopting climate-friendly practices. But you know what is a UPSC key? The key is B. Both are correct, which means that you need not go into the objective of the carbon markets. Just plainly read this statement. Carbon markets. It's a huge market under which privates are giving to private, privates are giving to the government, government is transferring to the private. Many things are happening. And therefore, within carbon markets, resources getting transferred from private sector to the state. When you read in this fashion, it becomes right. But we didn't read it this way. And therefore, we felt that this could be wrong. But the official key says that both are correct. This is a very interesting question for which, despite the official key, we still cannot conclusively say which is right. Because here we are comparing two bills, finance bill with that of the money bill. When it comes to finance bill, there are two provisions here you should be aware of. Article 117 speaks about financial bills. Understand, there is a key difference between financial bills and finance bill. Go through any document of the government. The word finance bill will only be associated with a bill that is introduced during the budget session. So in the budget session, along with the submission of the annual financial statement, demand for grants, appropriation bill, there will also be tabled a finance bill. The finance bill's main provisions are to give effect to the proposals of the Union Finance Minister. All the budget proposals, the legal backing if needed, will be effected too by the finance bill. And therefore, finance bill is a component of the budget. There is a reference in Rajya Sabha document about in the financial procedures of Rajya Sabha, which is the official document or in the website of the Rajya Sabha, they mention very clearly that finance bill is regarded as a money bill, and therefore, being a money bill, Rajya Sabha is having limited powers. Therefore, if you look at statement 2 is in fact the easiest, because money bill, Rajya Sabha cannot amend or reject. This is correct. Everyone will go that this is right. Where does the ambiguity come? The ambiguity comes in how we assume this statement to be. What is this finance bill? Is this finance bill to be inferred as a bill under Article 117 or a bill under the financial procedures of the Rajya Sabha or a part of budgeting? This is where the ambiguity comes or the division comes. Because UPSC has a tendency of reading into that words exactly. Finance bill here could be only read as a bill that is associated with the budget. Because Article 17 only deals with financial bills. It is with this logic that we felt that finance bill is a money bill. But here we had a doubt. If finance bill is a money bill, what is the point of having this question? Because why is there a need to compare a money bill with that of a money bill, isn't it? Therefore, we felt that if, let's read this finance bill as a budget, as a bill under the budget, then first statement, when the Lok Sabha transmit the finance bill, you read it here as money bill. Okay. Then when Lok Sabha transmits money bill to the Rajya Sabha, it can amend or reject, becomes incorrect. No joint sitting for money bill, definitely. But it becomes necessary for finance bill. If finance bill is a money bill, then there also there is no joint sitting. And therefore, only A could be right if this finance bill is to be considered or deemed to be a bill under the budget. Second, if we infer this finance bill to be a financial bill under Article 117, what will be the provision? So, Article 117 clause 1 says that any bill that pertains to any matters in Article 110, which is the definition for money bill, and has other clauses, has to be submitted or be introduced only in the Lok Sabha and also with the recommendation of the President. In all other aspects, it will be similar to an ordinary bill. This is the explanation for Article 117. Let's say that we are assuming this to be this. Then, when the Lok Sabha transmits a financial bill to the Rajya Sabha, it can amend or reject the bill, becomes correct. Second statement becomes correct. Third statement, in the case of disagreement between the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, there is no joint sitting for money bill. Yes, joint sitting becomes necessary for financial bill. See, what did we say? Financial bill, except in the introduction in the Lok Sabha and the recommendation of the President, and all other aspects, it is similar to an ordinary bill. If an ordinary bill is having a deadlock, what is the way to overcome that? It could be through joint sitting only, isn't it? There is no other provisions, or the bill has to stay so. It will stay idle, or be reintroduced in another session, or it has to be resolved through a joint sitting. The financial bill is to be read in Article 17, then this statement could also be right. Therefore, there were two positions taken. It could be all three, it could be only one. But you know what is the key of the UPSC? B is the key. Only two. So, if we read finance bill as a money bill, then only one could be the right answer. How UPSC has read it, we do not know. Perhaps we give the benefit of doubt that it could be read as a financial bill, and maybe statement 3 could have been marked as incorrect because of the word necessary in it. Because once there is a problem, it could remain so. There is no need that every bill that enters into a deadlock has to be only resolved through a joint sitting. And therefore, we feel that this statement could have been wrong if we have to make sense of the UPSC's official key. Here also, what is due process of law? There were divided parties, A or C, right? A or C. Going by the procedures and the literal meaning of our constitution and the fundamental rights provision, C was the answer. But whether we have to read it in this way or whether we have to bring in the judicial pronouncements and how the interpretation of due process has been evolving, then that is principles of natural justice. So due process of law does not just mean fair application of law, because if the law itself is unjust, then there is no justice in that. That's the position that has evolved over time. Whether we have to consider this due process as what has been procedurally provided or what has been inferred through evolution of justice, the answer is A. Right? The official key is they have gone with A, the principle of natural justice. This is also an interesting question. Under India's decentralized approach, the states are primarily responsible for organizing state. Yes, health services, states are responsible. India's public sector healthcare largely focuses on curative care. Yes, this is correct. With limited preventive, promotive and rehabilitative care. So last year when we were discussing the key of last year, I marked this as incorrect. Why did I mark this as incorrect and what was our rationale was? See, here it is about focus, isn't it? It is not about the ground reality. It is not about the infrastructure that has been set up. Obviously, based on the human's health needs, across the world, curative care is going to dominate, right? Not preventive, promotive or rehabilitative care. The resources that we have to put more in curative care. So, if this question was asked or framed in such a way that India's public sector health care is dominated by curative care in comparison with this, no ambiguity in this statement. But look at this, it is about focus. So, public sector healthcare means the government in large. So, let me imply this statement like this. India's government focuses on curative care and limited focus on. If I read it in this way, then this statement could be wrong. And therefore, we chose to read this word limited in a grammatical and along how the sentence was progressing. And therefore, we felt that here, limited focus, we should read it as if India's government is giving more focus to curative care, and limited focus means we are consciously limiting. That's what it means. For example, let me give you a statement like this, right? An analogy. Aspirants appearing for UPSC civil services have to focus largely on static and limit their focus on current affairs. What does it mean? We are consciously limiting. Doesn't mean that we don't have the resources, isn't it? If possible, you could read all day, you could read current affairs. That is how we read this statement. That's how a person will normally choose to read this statement, because if that is the case, we felt that this is incorrect, because government, even though knows that curative care has to be established more, it has not been limiting the focus. It has been giving more focus to preventive, promotive and rehabilitative care by having a comprehensive approach towards healthcare. Okay, so it is on this line that we felt that this statement is incorrect, but the official key is B. Both are correct. So how could first statement be correct? You just go through any policy document, maybe without a context, without a debate, without a conclusion, you read the statement plainly, then this statement becomes right. Okay, this is speaking about the current situation or status quo, and therefore the official key is B. Here also, which is nocturnal. How many of the above are generally nocturnal? So nocturnal means active during the night. Lion-tailed macaque is not there. Malabar civet, this was what was in the news last year. This is definitely nocturnal. You can cite it only in the night. Sambar deer, is it nocturnal or not? See, if you refer any documents, public documents available, Sambar deer has also this possibility. What this behavior is, it is also active during dusk, that is twilight, during dawn, and also during night, which means it is having all features, and therefore whether it is nocturnal or not, it is having nocturnal features. And therefore the statement, the answer could be 2 or the answer could be 1. This is what we were feeling. The right answer, the official key, is only 1. They have ruled out Sambat here. Why? Because of this. How many of the above are generally nocturnal? Nocturnal means only active after sunset. Let's say if you want to cite, a Malabar civet, you can cite it only in the night. But Samba deer, you can cite it in the evening. You can see a Samba deer in the early mornings and all. And therefore, even though it is having nocturnal features or behavior, it cannot be considered as generally nocturnal. I think with that logic only, the official key is answer A. Jhelum river passes through Bula lake. Yes. Krishna river directly feeds. No, it doesn't directly feed. Okay, so therefore this is incorrect. So both the statements, no doubts in that. What about this statement? Last year in the preparation of the key, we marked it as incorrect because when we looked into the map, there was a river called as Buri Gandak. So Buri Gandak is different from that of the Gandak river. Right? The map clearly shows. Then where is the ambiguity here? So we also marked the key as only 2. The official key is also only 2. But where is the doubt? Gandak river and Buri Gandak river, in the Bihar's tourism, in the Bihar government's tourism website, they say that this Kanwar Bheel is associated or is formed with the confluence of Gandak river. In another official websites also, they have written the word Gandak. Even in the place where the Kanwar lake is, the water or the area is referred to as Gandak. You know why it is referred so? Because even though it is technically Buri Gandak, locally they just drop this term as Buri Gandak. That is why they are calling it as Gandak. And therefore, if you try to refer to sources, maybe you can feel that you can find statements like this, that Gandak river formed Kanwar lake. But it is not Gandak river because Gandak river is different, Buri Gandak river is different. Therefore, the key is only 2. So, we now have a clarity that this Gandak doesn't mean Buri Gandak, it refers to a different Gandak river. And here also, the key was mostly correct with that of the official key. They built nests by making burrows. Burrows they make, but nests they make in the trees. So this was the position, the behavior of Indian squirrels. So we felt that this could be wrong, and rightly so. The key is only 2, and therefore making burrows and nests, should nests and burrows be meaning the same or different was the ambiguity. But now we are able to understand that they were checking whether nests are built in the ground or not, and therefore this is incorrect. The official key is only 2. Mercury pollution. In this mercury pollution, gold mining activity is an important source. Yes. Coal thermal is also an important source. Yes. There is no known safe level of exposure to mercury. Many of us mark this as correct. You know why? When you refer the UNEP website that is associated with the Minamata Convention, the words are verbatim given there. The exact phrases you can find there. And also in certain official government websites maintained by the health departments of UK and USA also, the words are given that although there is no known safe level of exposure to mercury. As for simply doing a Google search, you will have evidence to back the statement. But the answer key is only 2, which means that UPSC has marked it as incorrect. On what basis? We'll know only when we have an explanation. which the UPSC will not be providing us. But what is this is, maybe in India, the Factories Act provides for minimum exposure, the maximum exposure to mercury. So, in the elemental level or in the gaseous state, at the elemental level, how much of mercury should be exposed to? 1 microgram, 3 microgram per meter cube. So, this has been certain numbers that we have put in place. Therefore, the statement is also right according to some sources, but this statement can also be refuted if you look at the practices adopted by governments. And therefore, the answer is only 2. We still do not know whether we have to read this Minamata Convention's UNEP document and WHO's documents where they all provide such statements. Okay, but we have to go by UPSC's logic only. This statement could be wrong. And here, mostly there was not problems in this, but I want to discuss this question. MSME, this is incorrect because the numbers are wrong. It is between 50 to 250. Okay, fine. So, what about statement 2? In statement 2, see, MSME loans come under the priority sector, no doubt in that. Right? In the priority sector lending, MSME qualifies. Okay. Now, the word is given all bank loans. If we give emphasis to the word all here, whether the statement will be right or wrong. Is there a qualified sense in this term all? See, if you go and read the RBI websites, all bank loans to MSMEs subject to guidelines. So understand the word here. Subject to guidelines will qualify as priority sector lending. What is that guideline? One important guideline or marker, let me say. It has to be 1 crore of composite loan. The composite loan to an MSME should be 1 crore, the maximum loans that you give. Let's say a medium enterprise has taken a loan of 2 crores. 2 crores they have taken a loan, or 3 crores they are taking a bank loan. Will that be entirely be qualified? No, only because they have exceeded the composite loan. So, priority sector lending can qualify only up to a maximum of 1 crores. There are thresholds, there are guidelines, operative guidelines, whether we have to bring that into picture while reading this statement is what was the ambiguity. So, while discussing this key, I felt that mostly when you read too much or when you want to dive deep into a statement, normally do not do that, right? Just stay at the superficial level and think about, you just drop this word all. Bank loans to MSME qualify as priority sector loan. You have to read it in this way and mark it right. So, this is what I had cautioned. Whether 2 is right or wrong, we do not know based on whether the UPSC will choose to read the word all qualitatively or not. Luckily, the answer is B. So, 2 has been marked as correct. So, we have gone through 10 questions where there were some ambiguities. In other questions too, some questions have risen due to the official key. But let's not debate too much about it. What is clear to us? As aspirants, you shouldn't be speculating, you shouldn't be debating about what is right, what is wrong. You have to do your best. Push yourself to the maximum that is possible. You have to compete, have this competitive spirit. Do the maximum, do the best that you can and leave it. Let the results come. Wait for the results, be positive, but you have to change your strategies post this. What are the strategies? Right? Any questions that we with proof can argue that is right is being declared as wrong by UPSC. Right? There is, see, 1 or 2 questions changing is not a big thing for us. But when there is a variance to more than 5 questions, then definitely we have to rework our strategies. What kind of reworking you should do? Never attempt too much. Earlier, before 2023, right? We used to give advice to aspirants that push yourself beyond 85. Some will go 90. 90 plus questions you have to attend if you want to maximize your chances of clearing. That kind of approach in this pattern, in this new pattern, will backfire. So touch questions as long as you are sure about it. All three statements you are definitely knowing, touch it. One or two guessing, of course, you need to make some risks, but take risk optimally. Don't go beyond a particular limit. The second takeaway is read statements plainly. Read statements plainly. Don't overthink. Don't overthink. Perhaps there could be one question in which, say, in the financial bill, we felt that the third statement could have been marked incorrect because of the word necessary. So here the emphasis is given to the word necessary. But in all the other statements, in the word as all or in the word limited, whenever we gave too much of focus on those specific adjectives or words, it was varying with the UPSC key. So what we choose to give emphasis has not been given emphasis by the UPSC. This is one lesson that we can learn from this. And therefore, don't read a statement too specifically. Always try to generally read it. Generally read a question. Read the statement plainly. If you have any doubts, any ambiguity in that exam hall itself, think twice before you read too deeply or too specifically. Okay? So with this note, kindly go through this year's official key. We will provide a document where we have marked the official key. You can find this in this video. Just go through that, make an analysis, understand which statement could be wrong, which statement could be right. We will not have explanations from the UPSC. UPSC only has said that two statements are right. Which two statements are right, you have to do that homework. Okay, so go through this paper once or twice before entering into the exam hall. Do your best, make yourself positive, and don't try differently at this point of time. If you have been sticking to a hard and fast rule that you will always attend 90 questions, 95 questions, you have to rework on that strategies. Apart from this, your preparation is doing well. Just keep going. Thank you. We'll see you in another video.